Right then we have this, what is it, the Commander's PERI panoramic sight. We just got to sort that out. Quick note, the MG, I'm actually leaving this off because it's going to be, you know, pretty much a different colour to the model, and we can just spray that separately. But what we've got here is we've got this little bit of a rubber sort of O-ring type thing going on here, so as we can turn it apparently. But if we actually put the bottom piece on, which should just slot in a sec. Does go down. I know I've got the wrong way around, sorry. There we go. Hopefully what you can see is I'm actually having to push this down to lock it in. So it almost seems like this bit of a rubber is a little bit too big. So we want to sort of just slice it just a little bit. You know, we never want to sort of, in scale modeling, cut off more than we need to, right? We always want to sort of slice that little bit. Right, it's always easier to just test fit, cut off a bit, test fit, cut off a bit, than it is to actually add stuff, pretty much 9 times out of 10. So now we plop that in there after just cutting that little sliver off there, and then fingers crossed this should now close really nicely. If I get it orientated just right. 1 second. And there you go, orientated that just right, and I don't even have to push that down now, it's nicely staying in place. So we can then glue that on, and then what should happen, I do believe, is that when we put the turret on just here, the bottom bit will glue onto there, and this should be something that can move if you so wish. So we're basically now done with the build stage, just moving along. You know, it's just lots of bins and boxes putting on it and stuff, so no really much to sort of teach you there. But here she is, and hopefully you sort of, you know, for out of the box, right, we do get a lot of photo etch. I mean, hopefully as you can see at the back of here, really sort of nice photo etch going on, as well as all over the kit. You know, really good sort of quality there. Now at the back here with the bins, just to sort of note, I did mention that these bottom bits here were sort of flapping up that way, and it was sort of catching on our main hull a bit. I did have to come in with, you know, some pegs, right, and we did have to sort of like squash it down, right, so as to kind of pinch them together and sort of get them touching and everything with the actual storage bins and everything. Another thing is as well, if we actually put this on here, you can still feel it sort of catching, right, and really we don't really want that, because if we're going to sort of maybe move it to sort of display it however we want, we're going to be scratching paintwork. So I think what we have here is these little sort of bolts that are sort of sticking up on the bottom just here. Maybe bring you in. If we sort of like maybe sand them off, cut them off or something, you know, because they are kind of protruding a fair bit. There's about what, we've got about 5 of them there. Maybe cut them off, sand them off, if you don't mind that them, you know, having those things taken off. I mean, you do have to tip the tank upside down to see that you've cut them off, but you know, it should help with that kind of problem there. We then have as well, if we sort of maybe just take the turret at the moment, getting out some masking tape. We do have all our clear parts just here, you know, all our little peepholes and everything. There is a few ways to go about it. One, we can get out some masking tape. I've got some 18mm masking tape here by Tamiya. We can, the way I like to do it is, you know, because these are sort of like rectangular shapes, we can get away with not having to cut at least two sides. So if we get some scissors out and we cut this masking tape, say nice and straight one end, right, we should hopefully be able to take care of maybe hopefully 2 corners. Right, so I'm just going to place this on here as precisely as possible. Then we can sort of maybe get a toothpick, right, because what we want to do is we really want to sort of stick this down, right, and really sort of push it into the corners like so. Really sort of get that down, because if we kind of get it into the corners, it just makes cutting it that little bit easier, and just make sure it's all stuck down all the way around. Right, as well as, you know, just pushing it down, as I say, into those corners. It kind of gives you a little bit of a guide with the blade to cut at it. Right, so what we can plain and simply do here is very carefully follow the corner. I mean, you've normally got maybe a little bit of a lip or a ledge to sort of use as a guide, and if you're very careful, we can just cut all the way along there. Right, and then do the same, trying to get you on camera, trying to do the same, running it up there like so, and then hopefully we should be able to sort of pull this off. Right, and there we go, we've got one of our little peepholes here nicely sort of cut out. Right, pretty easy with sort of like the big ones. We do have the smaller ones here. Admittedly, it might have been a little bit better if I had maybe done this process before sticking them in, especially for you beginner guys out there. But what we can also use, we do have all sorts of cool products. Right, what we've got, Humbrol does the Mascal, Ammo does their liquid mask. In fact, I haven't used Ammo, so I might actually use Ammos for the first time here, just to sort of show you. You know, you don't want to have a really expensive brush, right, but you do want to have a bit of a nice pointy, half decent brush, not something really horrible or anything, right, because we've got to get a little bit precise. It is a little bit small in this case. Right, and we just shake that up, and as you can see, I've never opened this one up. Right, seal was still on it, and what we're going to do right, is just very carefully paint this on. Now I understand that some of you out there, you know, maybe haven't got the most steadiest of hands, right? You know, so you know, try not to worry too much, because you can tidy this up, right? I mean, right at the end, right, as long as you get as close as possible, right, you can at the end maybe sort of come in with a paintbrush, tidy up any areas, right? There are ways of sort of like, if like you got paint actually on the clear part, we can tidy that up as well. Right, so, you know, don't worry too much. There is a way of tidying up, and I will sort of show that at the end. But basically, there you go. I've painted our liquid mask on there by Ammo. Probably going to have to put maybe 2, maybe 3 coats on there, because you want to build it up quite thick. If it's too thin, it doesn't quite work as well. You want it to be kind of thick, and then you just want to leave that to dry, which normally dries really, really quick. And then we've got all those to do all the way around. So now we're going to prep for the spray stage. I think prepping is very important because it eliminates any potential problems with your spray work. Now first off, hopefully as you can see here, nice bit of polystyrene. Got all our wheels and everything out. I know this is a pain in armoured vehicles, but you know, all I've basically done is, you know, any trick you can think of where you get a cocktail stick or something. In this case, the holes on the back of these wheels are quite big, right, so I did have to put a bit of blue tack in there as well, but that holds it nicely hands-free, so we can spray them hands-free. Using locking tweezers as well with these ones. They got a little sort of something inside there, and we just kind of like grab it with the locking tweezers, again hands-free. We've got our MG here. You know, find anything, you know, inconspicuous places, you know, underneath the MG we have where the ammunition is, right, there's a little like nice little hole in there, you know, stick a cocktail stick in there, get one to fit, cut the cocktail if you need to get it to fit, and it's all about getting it all hands-free. What I've also done as well is, when I'm sort of thinking about spraying this, because this has got like 3 different colors to the camo pattern, it's gonna be a pain with these side skirts, right, because what we have is, if we look at some reference photos, we've got the 3 different color patterns on this, but we've also got all the running road wheels, and all underneath here is actually just green, right? There's no camo pattern from what I've seen from any reference photos, so we need to keep that separate. But the problem is, we need to have basically we need to try and get these on because the side skirts have the camo pattern, and to have the camo pattern line up nicely, we kind of need them on, but we don't want them on because we need to get the wheels on, we need to get the tracks on. So what I'm going to do is, what I've done actually, I've glued these front parts on because they're only kind of small. We can work around it, we can still get the tracks on, they're glued on, you know, we can spray them nicely. This lung one, we can't glue this on, but we can sort of, for priming, you know, I've got a cocktail stick with some white tack on there, but when it comes to doing the 3-stage camo, I'll probably use like white tack or blue tack just to put it in place so we can get our camo pattern, and then we can take it off when we put the armoured skirts on. So you do have to kind of think about how you're going to spray things, how you're going to do things, to not have things on, leave things on, and all that good stuff.